Ladies and gentlemen and Force users of all ages, welcome back to Inside the Tauntaun, a Star Wars podcast where we get to the guts of what makes Star Wars meaningful to us. I'm Daniel Dawson, and I'm joined by my dear friends and fellow gods of mischief, Alyssa Simmons and Dino Nicandros. In this episode, we are discussing the Disney Plus series Loki. This is episode 3, Lamentus, directed by Kate Herron and written by Bisha K. Ali. And by God, we're Star Wars fans. Oh, and Marvel fans!
I thought they smelled bad on the outside.
Daniel, do you want to explain to everybody what happens when you make that
horrifying
sound you make?
sound?
Which sound? I feel like that's like my
Is it
brain.
your brain allowed?
Restarting?
Okay.
Yeah, it's a reboot. Yeah, uh-huh.
Yeah.
It's something
We've lost connection, and now
Because now, instead of just like pausing for a brief moment, you don't even pause at all. You go directly into that.
Mm-mm.
So it's oh, what's her name? like immediately, rather than just like, what is her name? Like, let me think about it for a second.
No, it's like I feel like it's like somebody has used the time stone on my brain. You know.
Oh gosh.
Sort of the
Lousy.
same effect, but yeah.
Frightening.
Oh my God, this episode. Okay. The biggest takeaways from this episode, and let me know what your guys' thoughts are. But I think the biggest takeaways are, hey, gay, happy Proud Month.
We have officially now in the MCU made it. It is now canon that Loki is bisexual, which is pretty cool.
Wonderful.
Indeed.
I feel like it was revealed in a perfect way.
Oh yeah, it wasn't like this like ridiculous like grandiose moment. And
No,
it was like a simple conversation.
pretty chill.
It
Yeah,
felt like something we always knew all along.
Yeah.
It was
Exactly.
just being
now it's just like
confirmed.
now it's just like said aloud, which is
But now I want to see a
Right.
sex scene.
Oh,
Give it to me.
Kate Herron had a really cool tweet about it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she said, it was very important to me and my goal to acknowledge Loki was bisexual. It is a part of who he is and who I am, too.
Oh.
I know this is a small step, but I'm happy. My heart is so full to say that this is now canon in the MCU.
That's freaking
So,
dope.
That's pretty cool moment that, a
And she
similarity
got to do it
that
in the middle of Pride Month.
Yeah.
And like it was a very, very special moment. Also, the TVA members are all variants. So that's pretty fun.
Gosh, that's terrifying.
Yeah, well, and to show you where my priorities were, Daniel was celebrating Pride, and I texted him right after the episode. I said, "So Mobius is just a guy who loves jet skis." That was my takeaway from the episode.
I was like, yeah, also happy
Giant
Pride.
historical moment. Also, he's just a guy who likes jet skis.
He's been brainwashed and is now imprisoned in the TVA. Like,
Oh,
God.
very. This spooky show just got a lot
Sinister.
spookier.
oh my gosh, that is so
so-
scary.
What do you say we break this shit down?
Break it down now.
And then we talk about it.
Yeah, go for it.
All right, the episode starts with the end of episode 2. But from the perspective of Sylvie, who has C20 in an illusion and is attempting to get TVA secrets out of her, particularly the location of the space lizards. I believe this to be a big clue for how the rest of the episode might be going down. Like some sensible foreshadowing, maybe? Question mark. We're going to put a little pin in that. The Marvel logo has the song Demons behind it, and the lyrics are more or less saying that there's something in the water, and I've got demons in my head. I mean, pretty appropriate.
Yeah, it's a Haley Kiyoko.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh my God. So I was thinking about. Remember when in episode 2, C20 says over and over, "It was real. It was real." So spooky. Now that we know that she basically experienced an illusion that was based in her real memories. So, I guess she just maybe what Sylvie was doing was waking her up. So she now maybe remembers or is starting to remember her actual past.
Right. Things that she thought were dreams or something.
Yeah.
Because they've done so much brain fogging of them in the TVA.
Yikes,
she didn't think those were actual memories.
Yikes. And so you can imagine that all those people that she poofed into is kind of on the same boat.
Right.
So yeah, if you're zooming and enhancing like I am and a lot of other nerds out there, you may have been noticing a lot of random people in the background of this show that look super familiar to other MCU characters. In episode 2, Alyssa even pointed out that the lady at the Ren Fair looked a hell of a lot like Agatha. And in the first episode, a lot of nerds were saying they swear a girl in the background was getting escorted by some Minutemen was Peggy Carter. Well, in this episode, in the opening scene, if you kind of look in the background of the little dinner place that they're at, there is a guy in the background that looks a hell of a lot like Ralph Boner.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't see it.
Yeah. It's because he's again, just like how Peggy Carter was, kind of blurred and a little off to the side, but same
also
haircut.
Probably not Peggy Carter.
Huh?
Also probably not Peggy Carter.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah.
Probably not. But it's just interesting.
I've gone back and looked at these, and
I think that I think it's all of us looking for things.
Yeah, I think that it's them having fun with us, and it's a perfect show for something like that.
Yes,
where
I agree.
You'd have different versions of the same person. that kind of thing.
Our friend Katie is a big fan of Loki and Marvel stuff, and
Hi,
she
Katie.
was like, "Hey, Katie," and she was like, she's like, I love it because that girl who everyone thinks is Peggy Carter is probably just some random extra with brown hair, and her claim to fame is everyone thought I was Peggy Carter at the TVA. I was just an extra.
I'm a big fucking
yeah, it
deal.
was her second SAG
I
production.
got paid $100 for the day.
Right.
I hope she gets a bump for that.
She doesn't.
do too.
The Peggy Carter bump.
Or gets interviewed on a podcast like
Hey.
this.
She does. Oh gosh, hey, you know what? Hey,
girl,
if you're out there,
girl that everyone thinks is Peggy Carter, if you are one of our 5 listeners, please
you are welcome.
Message us.
Tell us how the sausage is made.
I
want to know what's happening there.
But that's fun. Those are fun little little things,
Little things. It's just fun things to. I mean, look out for it because maybe we'll see another one.
Sure.
Yeah.
Anyway, Sylvie gets the info she needs from C20 about the location of the timekeepers, the space lizards, and uses the temp pad to teleport into the TVA. Whoa. The now practically empty TVA because she's bombed the sacred timeline and everybody's like, whoa! So she's very, very smart, cunning. A dope fight scene ensues between
really cool.
her and the remaining TVA guards, and we get a taste for how badass Sylvie is.
Well, and she figures out her powers don't work.
Yeah, powers no worky.
Oh, yeah.
Powers no worky, so she just starts vaporizing them with their
woof.
pruning ones or whatever you call them.
Those things
We
are
also
scary.
get a super duper cool close up of that happening. And you hear his scream kind of like digitalized. It was I loved the way that looked and sounded. It was so creepy and dope. And then Loki chases her through the temp pad portal, and he first tries to team up with her. And we're still it's so hard to know whether or not he's being sincere or not. But
yeah.
I maybe I mean, I don't even know if he knows he's being sincere.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know if he knows what to feel or what's going on in his head.
Yeah.
Yeah,
sure.
I think he's just trying to see how far the rabbit hole goes, maybe, in this. But
I'm just very conditioned to expect him to do something
Yeah.
really awful.
which is so fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, so she refuses to work with him, and then he swipes her temp pad and teleports them both to one of the apocalypse places that Sylvie apparently had on her list, I guess, called Lamentis, and it's in 2077, which is in the middle of a planet colliding with a moon?
So the moon is collapsing in on the planet.
What a fun time to be alive.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there's not much about Lamentis in the comics. It's on the edge of Kree space.
It does introduce, and I didn't know this until recently, through a passing mention in one of the comics I'm reading. But
Oh, really? Even the ones you're reading? Cool.
Young
Yes.
Avengers, right? Or is that the one that it pops up in?
the characters, not Lamentis, but the characters that Lamentis is associated with.
Oh.
Yeah, it's like
What's their
it's
faces?
Phyla and Moondragon. Moondragon is Drax's daughter.
And Phyla
Oh,
is the
shit.
daughter of Marvel
Yeah,
from
Phyla is
Marvel
Marvel's
lore.
daughter.
Oh,
And they are
my
also
gosh.
a queer couple.
Yeah,
Oh, my God.
yeah.
So-
I love that.
So
I
I
know
think definitely from the trailer, we all thought that these like
Oh, thank you for bringing that
Lamentis
up.
were Vormir, and
And it's
they're
not. Yes,
They're
so we're
not.
not seeing Black Widow. Everybody calm the F down,
Mhm.
for goodness sakes. But yeah, I also think that the Lamentis comes up in the Annihilation comics, so I haven't read those, so I don't really...
Yeah, it's
I
just
don't know what
think
they're
it's
about, and I don't want to
mentioned-
spoil them for you.
It's
Huh?
it's mentioned in those comics, but I
Oh,
don't
it
think they're.
is.
I don't think they're like there. I don't think
It's not
like
like a big
location. Mm-mm.
Yeah. So yeah, really, there is a whole. It is a pretty mysterious place, and also why it's in the middle of a. You know, it might be like an MCU event that's happening or happened and which eventually caused this to happen, or maybe it's just something that is random, which yeah, neither really matters. But anyways, they land in a mining colony on the planet and eventually come to a truce. Because Loki has the temp pad, but the power is running low and only Sylvie knows how to charge it. So they need each other. How adorable. Oh, God. I just want to say, like, the art department is just showing off now because,
It's
Yes.
beautiful.
oh, my God.
The art department and the frickin' volume.
Yes.
That we talked about it at length when we discussed Mandalorian, but they're using the same technology here. They're using a volume soundstage, 360 degrees of digitally created environment, and it looks
How
looks so
freaking
good.
spectacular. They can do anything with
They
it.
can do anything. It's so cool.
And I'm
looking.
always like waiting for a moment for its like flaw to kind of be super apparent, like to see
Yeah.
a line or
Mhm.
to see something like that. But they are so brilliant with their editing as well that like you never have the opportunity to be rude like that
Yeah.
Right.
because it's just so good. They really,
Right.
it's such a cool thing.
Truly. I was very, very impressed. It's gorgeous, super unique, and looks very expensive. Sylvie attempts to get into Loki's mind, and Loki appears to be immune to her powers because his mind is too strong, quote unquote. Who knows? But I'm sus of this because it's, you know, this show is as crazy as can be, and it's very plausible that she really did get into his mind, and maybe we're seeing some illusion that we'll get back to that. But we get a conversation between the two of them, revealing that we were seemingly right about the idea that Sylvie is an amalgamation of Loki and the Enchantress, or at least as we know now, she's a Loki variant
and
who is now
Sophia
calling
DiMartino-
herself Sylvie.
Right. Sophia DiMartino said in an interview recently that she is indeed a combination of
Both of those characters.
Sylvie Lushton from the comics, who is also Enchantress and Lady Loki. So this is somebody entirely new with a different set of circumstances, which I think is
maybe
cool.
some similar circumstances, but completely new character.
And I really like when they do that, honestly.
Yeah.
In
It's better.
in the
Why-
films,
well, yeah.
why not draw from, especially with characters that might only appear in one or two stories? Like,
It's great
why
because
why not combine stuff?
because for the people that have read the comics, then like there's still some element of surprise. You're like, oh, they took that from that character, and they took that from that character. That's cool. Yeah, I love that. They reach a small home that Sylvie tries to break into and immediately gets blown away by this older woman who calls them both devils.
Get off my lawn.
Yeah, get off my lawn. Loki attempts to deceive her by changing form into her late husband after seeing a photo of him in her house. It doesn't work, and he gets blown away as well. Hilarious. They found out that everyone is headed to the Ark evacuation ship, and Sylvie thinks that it would have enough power to recharge the TemPad. The Ark, the
As in
Noah's
Noah's.
Ark. So we're getting a little religious here.
Also a little, not a little bit alike, a lot alike, much like the ship, although granted it was much smaller, but in Thor Ragnarok, when they were trying to run
to
the
evacuate
Cataclysm,
Asgard.
they had an arc of sorts.
So they hitch a ride on a train to get there. We also see a fair amount of classism going on here with the rich being prioritized evacuation. Just great. Very believable. They have a very interesting conversation that honestly sounds, and I'm kind of curious what you guys think about this. It honestly sounded like it's on the edge of like sibling fun and like just straight up hitting on each other. Which I thought is kind of hilarious because honestly it makes sense because Loki is like super arrogant and he would totally find himself attractive.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
There was some
tension.
chemistry.
There was
two
tension,
different
right?
kinds of chemistry. They had some of the sibling
Rivalry.
kind of rivalry, but there was definitely some sexual tension between each of them as well.
For sure.
Yeah.
And in the scene where they
Well, the fact that they're talking about their significant others, like, oh, yeah, you
Yeah.
have.
Right.
yeah,
That's
exactly.
a thing that you would
And
ask.
they're not siblings. If anything, they are alternate versions of the same person.
Right.
But we're not even
But
sure
we're not sure of
that's
that yet.
so
We're not
much
even
the
sure of
case.
that, right?
Right.
Because literally trust no one.
Right.
But yeah, this is also where we get the big Loki is bisexual reveal. Also interesting.
And Sylvie as well.
And Sylvie, right? Yes, both of them. Thank you. But yeah, also interesting to note that most of the episode is on Lamentis, and on this planet, the camera has like a bluish purplish tint to it. And basically, well, I mean, if
The whole color palette of the episode
is basically that, which if you know what the bisexual pride flag is,
It's
it is
purple.
the exact same color. So I don't know if that was purposeful, but I really hope so because I think that's such a cool art thing.
well, it wasn't just I mean, that because doesn't the flag have a pink?
Yeah,
just
it's
in the middle.
it's like fuchsia, purple, and white.
So
Yeah.
all of those colors were
Very prevalent.
apparent in every setting, and that was not an accident.
Right, it just,
As
yeah.
Daniel pointed out.
It feels so, I was just like, it was in the back of my mind. I was like, wait a minute. And then I was like, oh my God, those sons of bitches.
They did it. They
They
gayified
fucking did
my.
it.
Oh, it's actually not white. It's like hot
light
pink,
blue?
purple, and then like indigo.
Yeah, literally.
Okay.
And so,
Yeah.
guys, if you're listening to the podcast, like, just Google, pretty much any image from episode 3, and then Google the pride flag, and
Yeah,
you'll be
it's
like,
totally
oh
the same
my
color palette.
God. Yeah, it's crazy. Sylvie apparently, I say apparently in quotation marks, takes a nap and wakes up. Watching this for a second time, it made me wonder if at this point Loki taught himself how to do her magic against her and now has her in an illusion. I don't know. That's one of my crazy theories, but I just like I didn't find that until the second time I watched it because I was like, wait, how in the hell are they going to get out of this? And then I was like, oh, wait a minute. wait a minute.
Or
Like,
the opposite of that.
Or the opposite.
She
yes.
has him in an illusion, making him think he's drunk and
Correct.
On Asgard.
Correct.
Yeah.
And that's why I brought it up earlier, where like, you know, where she put the hand on and she's like, oh, it's not working on you, like, and he like was just like, oh yeah, because my mind is like too strong, you know. So she's like bumping up his ego, like so that he can reveal something to her. But very similarly, coming up soon, Sylvie, Loki gets some very good information out of Sylvie. So there's maybe some manipulation going on between the both of them.
Well, and that was another great line when he looks to her and he's like, "Are you trying to enchant me?"
Yeah,
like,
yeah, right.
Oh, you bastards!
Yep.
Dialing up the flirting.
He's so flirting. But yeah, so Loki is drunk singing to all of the train riders a song in Asgardian, which is really just Norwegian. And don't worry, fellow nerds, because it's been translated. The song says, "In stormy black mountains I wander alone. Over the iceberg I pull myself forth. In the apple garden stands the maiden fair, and I sing, 'When will you come home?'" What a great song.
I love that this episode is continuing to dive into Loki's Asgardian identity.
Totally.
And it's playing up themes from the past films that were lightly touched on, and
talking about his mom.
Yeah, there was a line where that they were hearkening back to Thor, or I think it was the second Thor, where Thor tells him, "Well, you got Mom's tricks, but I had her trust."
Right.
But you do come to realize that Frigga loved Loki equally, and when he's telling Sylvie that story, I mean, she's visibly moved by his mom believed he could do anything.
Yeah. Oh,
and
what a sweet line.
Just further see that struggle in Loki, which is so wonderful to see after all of the tricks he plays, and
he killed her.
Well, yeah,
basically,
in a roundabout way, yeah.
Yeah.
Whoops.
We also, and take this with a grain of salt because Sylvie is also quite mischievous.
Oh yes.
But she says that she was also adopted, so they have like that kind of similarity. But she was told at a young age of her lineage, and so that's an interesting little
difference. Yeah, and we still don't know who her mom is. Stay tuned.
No.
But yeah, so and then Loki does a fun callback to when Thor screams "Another!" and then throws his glass on the floor. Loved that.
Asgardian. Yeah.
And then Loki also says he's not drunk, he's quote unquote full, which is funny because apparently in Norwegian culture, when you say you're full, it means you're drunk, which I think is great.
Yeah.
He attracts too much attention, and they get literally thrown off the train. He then reveals the tempad is broken, and she's hella pissed. But I think this could all be part of an elaborate illusion so that Loki can manipulate Sylvie into telling him how her magic works, and that the TVA members are all variants. Maybe. So those are the big reveals that she revealed after that moment. They arrive at the city where the Ark is taking off from, and it's apparently very close to apocalypse time because the city is falling apart. And we get the dopest continuous shot. That was the biggest flex of the episode and maybe the show so far. At least it definitely looked the most expensive for sure. They apparently threw some money at this one. There were obviously some clever cuts and stitching going on to make it look continuous, but still, so impressive.
Very well done. Yep.
And beautiful to watch. My mouth was agape. And then they realized they arrived too late and the Ark is destroyed. Whap, whap. And are they marooned? Was this all an illusion and didn't really happen? Did Loki actually steal... Okay, this is another one. Did Loki actually steal one of the time stones and we'll fix everything in the next episode? Tune in next time. But honestly, though, I don't think he stole a time stone. I know that is a theory that's out there, but, like, I mean, he may have done it, but still, because the time stones only work in their proper timeline, there were so many of them, like, it would be so hard for him to have known which one would have worked in this particular timeline, or it would have been, wow, what a coincidence, it works, you know?
Yeah, that's
yeah,
a
it's just not possible. Fun theory, but yeah, it doesn't.
Reddit.
Don't think it works. But yeah, damn. I'm what an episode.
Well, and at the end, very near the end, she drops the reveal. The people who work at the TVA are just other variants. And
right.
He's like,
yeah.
Wait, what?
I was unwell for the rest of the episode. I was like, well,
yeah, I was not well.
I was not well.
So yeah, question. So, so they're variants. So is the TVA people, are they variants that got reset? Question mark. Like, if you get reset, do you become a TVA member? Like, you know, and like your memory is...
It's possible.
Yeah.
And why specifically from Earth?
Right.
Like, they're all from Earth.
Right. Or are they just made to look that way, you know?
Well, I think... Didn't she say they were from Earth?
She did.
I think so, actually, now that you say that.
I just thought of this, and it's probably not true at all, but, like, what if the reason that they were fine with, like, the Thanos snap is because, like, they had some sort of, like, deal worked out, and they got the people that were, like, blipped off the planet.
Woof.
Oh, that's a spooky thought. Yikes.
That's a very spooky thought. I have another thought. Now that we said it in the last episode that TVA is full of shit.
Right. Mm-hmm. And we were correct.
Take it a step further, I don't think the timekeepers are real.
Oh, shit. No,
like,
honestly, I love that theory.
I don't think there are 3 space lizards. I think this is like a Kang the Conqueror.
A Wizard
Somebody
of Oz, like,
has devised this elaborate illusion to keep not illusion, but this story to keep everybody humming along and playing along. Yeah.
Well,
Mobius has never met them.
In Scientology, don't they believe in some sort
Xenu.
of...
Yeah, Xenu.
Right, right. Oh my God, we're getting the real Scientology story. So so it could be like a pay no attention to the man behind the curtain kind of moment.
Which makes total sense, because why would you have 3 supreme beings controlling the entire Marvel story? You wouldn't.
Totally.
No.
Of course, it could also just be that. It could simply be that. It's possible. And actually, I'm curious too what your thoughts are. Or if this went through your head, this question. Do you think that the TVA has always been like this? Or do you think that at some point, like, you know, it started off like with good intentions, and then it got really spooky because they got desperate or something?
Maybe
or it got taken over by a douchebag.
It just depends on how much of that story from that intro video Miss Minutes shows. It just how much of that is true.
Yeah, well,
like,
again,
I believe a multiversal war is probably true.
Yeah,
I would say maybe something like the TVA stepped in.
To there was another
correct
great
that,
theory.
But
so
what were you going to say?
Another theory was that the TVA members are the people who lost the multiversal war.
Just from another Earth?
Yeah, from like a bunch of different Earths.
But
I mean, they're variants.
Yeah.
So it's possible.
I don't know. I'm sure we'll get some of those questions answered, but
I can't wait for that shit. Oh, you guys. So my mind went to Miss Minutes. Is Miss Minutes also a variant? Because if she is, like, I feel like I love that idea, because I mean, hey, there could also be a universe out there that's like a cartoon universe, you know? I mean, if they're going to try to make...
Or she's a voice actor. I mean, I'm like just relating this exactly to Scientology now.
Well...
I mean, they obviously, that like a very large portion of their membership are people that are in the entertainment industry.
Sure.
So you've got voice actors, you've got film, theater actors, like
Yep.
Maybe she's literally a voice
Just an actor.
Yeah.
That is a plausible thing. But yeah, I was thinking that if they're gonna try to make the Spider-Verse also canon, then that means that basically there is a Spider Pig out there, Spider Ham, in his crazy cartoon world.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe there is a world where talking clocks. Well, and interesting, if you go back to the cartoon from the first episode, they show the guy in the bow tie, and they show him morphing into different shapes and different versions of himself, but still with the same little cute bow tie. One of those shapes is a coffee cup, which is weird. A sentient coffee cup. So maybe there is a universe oh my God, we've been told that episode 4 and 5 is supposed to be where the show really takes off in a crazy cuckoo caca place. If we literally go to a cartoon land where we see cartoon versions of it, I am going to lose my shit. I love that idea. I mean, I won't be disappointed if it doesn't happen, but at this point, this show really could go anywhere.
Yeah. We've been lied to.
We've been lied to.
I think we knew that already, but but the answer as to who is behind it will be very interesting.
Yeah, I
do think there is a very real case to be made that this is the slow introduction of Kang the Conqueror.
There is so much precedent for that,
and
especially since we know he's coming.
Right, and we've seen him already as in statue form. There is a lot of visual references to him.
Totally.
And he's the kind of guy that even if you don't want him to be your next Thanos level guy, there is precedent for him to pop up and cause a lot of problems just all over the place. Why he's showing up in Ant-Man while he'll probably show up elsewhere.
In my bedroom.
In Daniel's bedroom.
Wow.
My boudoir.
But I'll be curious to see how other Loki variants get incorporated. And beyond that, why are Loki variants important? Because the TVA, I think it was Mobius in maybe it was in episode 1 where he says Loki variants in particular have been causing us a lot of problems. Why?
Yeah. Because they're
Loki?
I think because they're that's the Loki's thing, is them always trying to be cunning and pull the wool over everybody's eyes. They can usually, I think because of that, they're it's easy for them to see through other people's bullshit, maybe. And so them being at the TVA is a dangerous thing for the TVA because well, I don't know that why would they? No, that doesn't make any sense, because why would they bring him there willingly? If he thinks it.
There's a million options as always, but I just thought of this, what if since Sylvie has been hopping through all of these different timelines and what have you, maybe she's been able to locate a ton of the other variants. And she has used her enchanting powers on them to get them to do what she wants.
That's possible.
Believe it.
So maybe that's the issue, is that she's got this literal army of Loki variants that she has brainwashed in all of these different timelines.
How dope will that be if that? Oh man, that sounds so. I mean, Sylvie is not the last Loki variant that we will see in this show.
Oh no. I mean, we talked about this a little bit in the last episode. There are several.
We're gonna get a coffee cup Loki for sure.
And
That's
Richard E.
happening.
Grant,
I'm
scary
throwing it out
Loki.
there.
There's some other fun Easter eggs. Some of you might have noticed that on Sylvie's headpiece, one of the horns is broken off.
Yes.
And in the comics, Loki, agent of Asgard, her headpiece is missing a horn the whole entire
I love
time.
that.
Yeah. We also.
They don't say why it is, right?
Mm-mm.
It's just a fun.
We also have a fun Star Wars crossover moment.
shit.
I don't know if either of you caught it.
I may have missed it.
Oh, I think I did.
So when Loki and Sylvie are kind of battling, Loki says, "I thought perhaps we could work together, but now I see you lack vision."
Oh, yes.
So
yes.
it's a lot like
Your lack of vision.
Palpatine's line in Return of the Jedi where he says, "You'll pay the price for your lack of vision."
Oh, you actually just maybe reminded me of a one of those TikTok series, sir. That well, I mean, there was some very clear, like this Loki variant, Sylvie. Her powers are they're different, from other Lokis, it seems. And she also does this, like when she gets really mad about the temp pad being broken, like she kind of like storms off and like does this like and she's like holding her hands and like the green magic kind of swirls in her hands.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you guys thought this, but to me it looked a lot like what happens when Wanda gets real upset too.
There are definite similarities between her and Wanda.
Yeah. So the
Yeah.
question is this particular Loki variant a Nexus being?
Mm.
I don't think she's a Nexus being, but the similarity is well taken. That's a very good point. And I think it further illustrates just how friggin' powerful Wanda is. Because
Yes.
if you look at what Sylvie does,
She kind of is warping reality with.
she
with
is, but on
her
a very
power.
small level. Like
Yeah.
she's able to put illusions in people's brains and
Right.
kind of
And she's
harvest
like,
information.
and she's
Like the
been
reality
like,
change just exists within their brain, not the actual
Right.
world.
right,
Wanda can actually create something from
different
nothing.
realities, yeah.
Right. So
Well,
it's not in
and,
your head. It's like it's actually legit happening.
It's
yeah.
real. Right.
And probably Sylvie is like, if she is in the same way like Loki is, thousands of years old. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
she's been working on her magic and her enchanting abilities for a very long time, and as we know from WandaVision, Westview appeared kind of by accident, and then
Mhm.
she rolled with it.
Right.
So wow.
Right. And you see Wanda now teaching herself
Mm-hmm.
New
just
things.
as new things at the end of WandaVision. We're left
Right.
with the image of her astral body being able to learn information while she makes a
She's
cup of
making
coffee.
tea.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because nobody
It's like
told her she could
tea.
do that.
Right.
Yeah, I thought multiple
that's
times during
interesting.
this episode, I was like, oh, if those two ever cross paths, like, we are in for some
I'm
Some
looking forward to that
interesting-
moment.
interesting
well,
mind
well-
manipulation.
Well, let's spend a moment considering that's a very good point.
Could-
and
Yeah, could be.
if we are cracking open the multiverse in Loki, and Wanda is confirmed to be in Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness,
Hmm.
She is. They just wrapped.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So paths could be colliding, and I mean, yes,
They just
Yeah,
wrapped.
Yes.
Hey, my name is Wanda, and I'm here to say
Gosh.
Bicky, 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 and ho, ho, hey.
You are gifted.
Thank you.
A
Thank you
treasure,
so much.
a national treasure, should be locked away.
That is also true.
Oh, wow. But
These things are also true.
what a good episode, though. It was
Yeah.
so fun.
Have you
From-
guys seen the movie Snowpiercer
No, I have not. Oh, wait a minute.
on the train?
I was gonna say, yeah. Who is the star of that?
Snow.
Snow. Yeah, that's right.
Mr. Piercer.
Snowpiercer. Yeah.
I never saw it, but I know that it takes place on a train because when you said that, I was like, "Yep, that rings bells." Is this?
Bong
is this
it's
like a
Bong
very
Joon
similar-
Ho who made the movie Parasite.
So it's very
but
effed
it's
up.
who stars? Chris Evans.
Oh, there you go.
Chris Evans.
Oh my
Anyway,
God.
the aesthetic of this episode, and specifically the scenes on the train,
Very inspired.
And you were talking about all the kind of the class warfare of the people being left behind during the Great Cataclysm. Very Snowpiercer-ish. That was not accidental. It's very post-apocalyptic aesthetically, and interesting nod.
I heard there was a nod, and I totally missed it. But yeah, there was a nod to the Alien movie.
Oh yeah, the two guards were named
Michael Biehn and
and
Bill Paxton.
Yeah, their characters, the names of the characters were the same character
Right.
names from Alien.
Yes.
Just such a random callback, but yeah.
I love it. Just
and
hiding in plain sight.
Another thing that people have pointed out, which it didn't clock for me, but in the Loki Sylvie bar scene, they say that it's kind of like the Loki version of the WandaVision scene, where the famous line, like now famous, like what is grief if not love persevering?
Yeah. I loved their conversation about love.
And
said, "Love
this
is
was kind of
mischief."
like the Loki version of that. They're like, well, what if love is hate?
Yeah.
Just
whoa.
horrible metaphors. Just like it's supposed to be really touching and beautiful,
Yeah,
but
and
just
she's like,
horribly
so
executed.
your metaphor is, what if love is an invisible dagger? That's
yeah,
awful.
she's like, I guess it's not really that good.
Terrible metaphor.
It started off great though.
Yeah, I love it.
Oh fuck. Okay, so I going back to my original the point about her having like Wanda tendencies. When Loki says to her, "You lack vision."
Yes. That's where it popped up for you.
Yeah, you're like, oh fuck, yeah, she does lack vision. She doesn't have a vision. Oh my god. Sorry. Anyway.
I'm trying to think if there are any other big moments. Yeah, I can't think of anything.
I mean, truthfully, there weren't a lot of,
It wasn't crazy plot heavy.
No.
This
it
episode
wasn't.
was more about just like you started our conversation off with, the big thing is that the TVA workers are not
all
there.
gay.
They're not there willingly.
Yeah, and they're not willingly straight. They're all gay.
Also, I hadn't spent a lot of time exploring the end credit sequences.
Oh yes, there has been some changes.
So, in this one, there are pictures, kind of in a file that show Loki and Sylvie on Lamentis.
Yes,
Which means the TVA knows they're there.
They're watching.
So if you're looking for a way
Somebody's
to get them
watching.
off, if you're looking for a way to get them off Lamentis, the TVA is probably going to try and show up. And
Well, yeah, truthfully, the timekeepers, I mean, if they are aware of how the timeline is supposed to go, I'm curious if they're going to explain how they sort of work, but I imagine that they're sort of like omnipotent and they can just sort of see
that's what
anything they want at any time.
That's what I'm wondering, though. It's possible, but if the timekeepers don't even friggin' exist,
right?
I mean, how much of that is bullshit?
Yeah,
so.
But it is more likely that that the TVA would just be watching the Loki variants right now because they're public enemy number one to them.
Yes, absolutely. I just wonder how omnipotent they really are.
Totally.
They give off the vibe they are to keep everyone on the straight and narrow.
Mm-hmm.
But I wonder. I wonder indeed.
Totally. Very, very interesting. Wow.
Yeah, this show is definitely the most existential Marvel experience we have had thus
so
far.
far.
It was a great crisis of identity.
Yeah, and there were, definite moments of that within Endgame and obviously WandaVision. But this is like just next level.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's just
Where do you
like,
guys? I'm curious where you guys think where you think it's gonna go.
I have not a clue.
I know it's not safe to really say, but just for funsies, like, do you, or maybe the better question is where would you want it to go?
Where do we want it to go?
Yeah.
Just I don't have a concrete answer to that, but some variation of
Well, you said very
of the multiverse getting we confirmed that it's cracked open, that the TVA has kind of lost control, and over the next few stories we'll try to regain it, whether that's Kang or whoever, and how and finding, even if Loki doesn't address it directly, how this will tie into Doctor Strange and Wanda, and
well, if we
hints.
If we have if Sylvie did indeed like wake up C20, you know what I mean? If she's like woken up now, then that means that there are now like a handful of TVA members, or well, no, I guess at least 2, right? Because we've only seen her take over 2 of the TVA members, I think, right?
Yeah.
C20 and
C20
what's her face?
And the B-52s. Let's act, baby.
Hugging and a kissing.
Is it B-40? I can't remember.
Oh,
But
yeah.
yes,
B20.
B-20.
Oh, B20. Okay.
That's
right.
it. C-20, B-20.
Sure.
Yeah, okay.
Or B21. I don't remember what.
Oh, God.
Yeah,
Designation
but
was
yes,
either.
we have only seen her do that but we don't know if she technically woke up B-20.
Yeah, she
We
did
know that
wake up in a very
She possessed her,
yeah.
but we don't know that she did the like huli huli.
True. You know, that's interesting that you bring that up, because like is that a different part of her magic? Like, is that like a yeah? Is it the
It
same?
seems to be.
She makes it, or like performs it the same way, but is it a completely different?
Well, and we
hex?
also we
is it
don't.
hex?
I'm not sure if we ever really get to see Loki's telepathic abilities, or telekinesis, but he kind of displays it for the first time.
Big time. Well,
which
yeah,
is interesting.
Episode 2, he's like, I'm gonna move a Roomba, and then episode 3, he's like, I'm gonna move a whole building.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he got good real quick.
He got good very fast. Yeah.
I'm gonna go on a smaller scale from Dino on what I want to happen, and it's just that no matter where this goes, more than anything, I want Mobius to get his jet ski life. And
If the show does not end with him on a fucking jet ski,
if he is not riding off into the sunset on a jet ski, I quit.
Nope. That's the end of the MCU for me. Cancel.
Bye.
Yeah, I 100% agree.
That's my small end goal for right
No,
now.
that I feel
I'll
like
jump on board with
out of
that.
everything, like that's the most achievable goal, and like that would be such a missed opportunity for them.
It's just like the most.
Watch that be the only thing that doesn't happen. Everything else we just talked about happens. Mephisto shows up, the X-Men, and Ultron.
Yeah.
But he doesn't get his GD
his little
jet
ski.
ski.
Poor
Yeah,
little
that's
guy.
really what I want.
So yeah. Oh my gosh.
Before we
Can
go,
we
we have to talk about the Shang-Chi trailer.
Yep.
Oh
That's
my
exactly
God,
where I was
yes.
going. Thank you.
Yeah, go ahead, Dino.
Well, let's talk.
Let's talk about it. Go ahead.
So we got a new extended Shang-Chi trailer. A lot of the same footage from the first trailer,
Yeah.
but with some new things, and the internet is freaking out.
Aghast. Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's not the most important thing that happens in the trailer, but it does happen at the end, and everybody's asking, is that Abomination?
Mm-hmm.
The answer is yes.
The answer is friggin' yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Number one, because
we all knew he was coming back.
Right, for She-Hulk. I posited in...
we just didn't think he was going to be coming back this soon.
Right.
Yes, I had suggested in Falcon Winter Soldier that with the formation of the Thunderbolts, or whatever you want to call it, the Dark Avengers, Thunderbolts, whatever they're going to be, that traditionally Abomination has jumped in with that group from time to time. Are we currently seeing, similar to how we saw the formation of the Avengers, are we seeing the formation of the Thunderbolts take place over a series of Marvel properties? And
Yep.
the answer is yeah.
The answer is yeah.
We already had a very strong feeling about that with where Falcon Winter Soldier ended.
Yep.
But yeah, now we're
so Julia
rolling.
Louis-Dreyfus's character was supposed to show up in Black Widow first, so we know we're probably, and Thunderbolt Ross is also in that film, which comes out in a couple weeks. So that
do you think
that
she'll
will
pop
actually,
up in Shang-Chi too?
I don't know if she's gonna pop up, but my suggestion is that, like, so let's say Black Widow is the start of the creation of this group.
Mhm.
Sure.
That would make sense.
Abomination was, when last we left him in 2008, was in Thunderbolt Ross's custody. Interesting. And that's where he's been. And a couple of, I'm not sure if they're canon now, but a couple of Marvel series, I don't remember if it was on Daredevil or Luke Cage, one of them
the Netflix
referenced the
ones.
Abomination being in captivity. So if Julia Louis-Dreyfus and, what's her name again? Contessa de la blah, blah, blah.
But don't call me that.
De La Fonte. Yeah, it's the Contessa. Yeah, it's Contessa something.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't
her full
remember
name
either.
off the top of my head.
Hold
but
on.
It's okay
think
because she
we are-
doesn't want you to call her that anyways.
Right. I think, or Val.
Valentina Allegra de Fontaine.
Yes. Yeah.
But just call me Val. But actually, don't call me
But
that.
don't call me Val.
So yeah, I think we're getting so we've seen those two. We've seen Zemo. We've seen Abomination. We have U.S. Agent.
Mm-hmm.
There was, I think, a theory that perhaps, wait, what's his name? Annihilation?
Abomination.
Abomination. Abomination!
Abomination.
No, Abomination. He, in the trailer, might be fighting for his freedom?
There's some kind of tournament happening.
Yeah.
Also, interesting to note, I think he's fighting Wong.
I
from
think
Doctor
you're right.
Strange.
I think you're absolutely right.
Yeah, sure.
Because I think it was confirmed that Wong was in this movie
really?
already.
Okay, cool. Oh, love that guy.
Same.
But I think there's some kind of tournament. I don't know if it's Mandarin organized, but it could very well be, or he escaped at some point, and maybe Contessa Allegra de Fontaine
Let him out.
shows pops up and it's like, you show promise.
I got a job for you.
Yeah, my advice, if you're like, I want to start getting into comics, I would recommend Thunderbolts.
Yes.
For where we're going, and I also would recommend Sensational She-Hulk, which is the second run of the She-Hulk comics. Savage She-Hulk was the first run, but Sensational is the one that was in the 80s, and from what I am gathering so far, it's going to be more of those storylines than the very first run. So,
yeah. But more importantly, so this Shang-Chi, as you said, Alyssa, it kind of it extended some of the scenes we already saw in the first trailer. But I love the aesthetic.
Yeah.
I love how
it's super different for Marvel.
Yes, it's so different even visually from Loki. While playing up some traditional martial arts film tropes, but it's got the mystical element, but it's also got the very earth-based Marvel superhero feel to it. I love that they use hip hop music
Mm-hmm.
over it, even though it feels like that's not remotely appropriate for this style of movie.
Sure.
I love that it's a kind of a clash there, but
Mm-hmm.
it.
Yeah, I'm curious if that's what they're gonna actually do in the real movie, or if that's just a trailer thing.
But I love that it kind of, and this is me just like getting way too analytical, but I wonder if that just kind of represents Shang-Chi turning down his father's line of work.
Mm-hmm.
The first trailer
He's like, I'm
it
my
suggested
own
that
person.
his father says, "I gave you 10 years to go live whatever life you
Right.
wanted, and look what happened."
You turned to
So
hip
I
hop.
wonder, that
Now you're
that's
listening
kind
to
of
hip
at play
hop
here.
music, and
You listen to that trash hip hop music. I
Yeah.
forgot Michelle Yeoh was in this movie.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
I love her.
so
She's
much.
great.
Aquafina making her MCU debut as well.
Awkwafina's
Yeah.
great.
It looks like there's some
Um,
airbending going on in this movie.
Yeah, very airbendery.
Mm-hmm.
The rings. Holy
Oh,
crap!
very cool.
They
They
look
showed us
so
a little bit
I'm
more
cool.
how
really
they work.
fascinated with how those work, but
Yeah.
visually, it's like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
There
we've
was
come
one.
a long way from Ben Kingsley's like literal 10 rings that he wore on his fingers.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
this is like
Much more neat, yeah. There was
Yeah.
one cool, like 2-second clip of them. I think father and son kind of like doing a tug of war with them.
Yeah.
That looked hella dope.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. I'm just fascinated by how they're going to continue to build the Mandarin story, and if they're going to touch really at all on how his iconography was basically stolen in Iron Man 3 by
Oh yeah.
Aldrich Killian and AIM, and
Well, do
so
you
I
think
wonder
that
if
was
there's going to be some.
you don't think that was that they had a hand in that, or like it was
No, because it was suggested in the their All Hail the King one shot that was attached to I think Thor: The Dark World. It shows Trevor Slattery, Ben Kingsley's character, in prison, and some guy shows up in prison. It's like the real Mandarin is not too pleased that you guys have been playing dress up.
Yes.
And he would
Oh,
like to
yes.
see
got
you.
it.
So I don't think he suffers fools. I don't think he likes
Right.
pretenders. And Tony Leung, he's a very scary man. There's a line in the trailer. It's like, "Be careful how you talk to me, boy."
Ooh.
Woo!
Okay. Loving me, you.
I hope
Is this
the
pitch
Mandarin
okay?
isn't a.
Is it okay if I talk about right here, or I'm all right here? Do you prefer like a lower pitch? Should I talk to you down here, or
I hope the Mandarin
This is
isn't
better.
a one film villain. I hope he's given his proper time in the MCU spotlight, because he's
in so
Iron Man's
many
arch
comics.
nemesis.
He's in so many comics. So,
But like he is like Iron Man's like arch nemesis.
Yeah.
So if maybe he has a hand in Armor Wars, that would be kind of cool.
Sure.
That's probably a stretch. But anything that's dealing with Tony Stark's legacy, which kind of crapped on the 10 rings.
It took a feces on them.
they just
that
didn't
would be
even.
cool to
they
see
didn't even
him-
go there.
No.
Yeah. Ooh,
But
exciting.
it'd be cool to see the 10 rings kind of continue to hang out in the background of the MCU, causing issues. And that's going to be a great film.
Yes.
Yes.
Can't
Yes, it
wait.
is.
It's gonna be great.
Can't wait.
And as we said, Black Widow, 2 weeks. We're going to be seeing
We're
that
going
together
to
in a
theaters!
friggin' theater.
Ooh.
I'm so
IMAX
excited
bitch.
to. I mean, obviously, like watching Loki, watching Falcon Winter Soldier at home is fun, but I cannot wait to be in a movie theater seeing a Marvel movie.
Nobody's
It's-
got an IMAX theater in their house that I know of.
No,
So,
nobody that we
Um,
know, at least.
and this movie, if I am not mistaken, there are at least portions of it that were filmed in IMAX format. So
Yes,
that's
correct.
hella cool.
I think I said about 15 minutes or
Oh, really?
17 minutes. I don't know.
So anybody that doesn't like know this, like IMAX film is like ridiculously expensive to film on. So Yeah, that's why you rarely ever see like full-length feature films in.
Well, and also
like,
beyond the cost, at least until recently, the cameras could only shoot for up to 3.5 minutes at a time.
Oh.
I did not know
cameras.
that.
I
Wow.
didn't know that either.
So
But that makes a lot more sense
When
why it's
like
so
a Christopher
expensive.
Nolan, when he's done a lot of his recent movies almost entirely in IMAX.
Sure.
I think of like Dunkirk.
Mm.
Think about Dunkirk's about an hour and a half, and
The
there's
logistics
a reason
of
it was that short.
Whoa.
Because it was like they can, and they've probably improved the technology a bit. And if any cinematographers out there have a better understanding of IMAX cameras, feel free to enlighten us. But that was my understanding, was you get about like 3 minutes at a time.
I believe it.
Before you have to charge that sucker up again.
I want to say the first time I saw like a full-length feature film attempt to put like some IMAX film in there was, I think, was it The Dark Knight?
Dark Knight.
Probably.
Yeah, I don't know if that was the first time it was ever done. I don't
But
think
it was definitely the first
but,
time I saw it.
But yes, Dark Knight. Yes, the entire opening sequence, like the Joker sequence at the beginning was, all IMAX.
That was so cool. I just remember like the entire audience like gasped when it happened. Like,
Like,
oh,
like we've been missing out on like 23% of the actual picture.
yeah.
Which is crazy.
So
Yeah.
crazy.
Nuts. Also,
These nuts.
one more note about Shang-Chi. It was suggested that this movie might take place between Infinity War and Endgame during the blip,
Oh, really?
which could explain like why a tournament's being held, like why the Ten Rings is able to kind of come out
Well,
of hiding, because there's
that-
less government oversight to deal with them.
Yeah, that's hella believable. Yeah.
Ooh.
So, I mean, look out for that. Another interesting story placed within the 5 years when everybody was gone, which actually
But
makes
then
sense.
they'd have to figure out why he wasn't there for the final battle in Endgame, I guess.
Well, but maybe they don't, because if Shang-Chi's origin story is happening during the blip, he wouldn't know the Avengers because they're gone.
Sure,
Yeah.
but he would
Or
know
most
that
of them are.
I mean, I would assume that he would know that final battle is happening, probably,
Yeah,
right?
but why would there's probably an explanation, but like, why would he go running to like he doesn't know what Thanos is.
Sure.
I mean, most of the people who got blipped away don't know what the hell a Thanos is.
No.
And this battle took place in a relatively short amount of time.
You know, I never
in
even thought about
upstate
that.
New York.
So like you're saying that like the half of the universe that survived the snap, like there wasn't like, the Avengers were like, this is what Thanos, or this
No.
is this Thanos did this, and like now they're teaching it in schools, like in the history class.
No,
Thanos
I don't
snapped
think.
us.
I think the name Thanos eventually gets passed around once the dust has settled.
But
if you consider,
there's probably
like-
like a huge portion of the world that just believes that it was like part of the rapture or something, or what?
Some
until
crazy
the government
anomaly that happened.
the government explains it to them, in the years after it happened. Think about how quickly the events of Infinity War and then subsequently Endgame took place. Like these,
Yeah, 5
they
years.
Thanos landed in Wakanda, or landed his troops in Wakanda. You have this big battle.
Right.
Probably takes an hour or two.
Well, and nobody
And then
even
he
knows
snaps
Wakanda,
everything away.
Like,
Who the hell would know what was even going on?
right.
So I don't think Thanos is a household name until well after Endgame. Like, I think Captain America or Falcon Winter Soldier, you're just now starting to see people like put two and two together.
Very interesting. Very, very
So-
interesting. Never even
so-
thought about that. Never crossed my mind. I just assumed that, like, there would have been like a memo that went out across.
But I think it's super clever to start several of these new origin stories in that blip period when nobody knows what the hell just happened.
Totally.
And Earth needs some kind of guardians
I need a hero.
step forward.
Yeah.
So very interesting.
Exciting stuff.
Oh, wee.
Good Lord.
Awesome. Well,
now what?
yeah. Thanks so much for listening. This was Loki episode 3. Stay tuned for Bad Batch.
Bad Batch. Oh, boy.
In a couple of days.
Very excited.
Got some theorizing to do on that
whoa,
episode.
Wowzy. If you're not watching, catch up because it's starting
It just
to get
got good.
crazy.
Just done got good.
Yeah, it just got really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is Inside the Tauntaun, a Star Wars podcast sometimes.
We're now a Disney Plus podcast, apparently.
Oh, yeah. All the good nerdy stuff. All the nerddom.
Yeah.
I'm Alyssa Simmons.
And I'm Daniel Dawson.
And I'm Dino Nicandros.
May the force be with you.
Always.
We'll see ya.